our flight was canceled, you guys. We're stuck at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, nowhere to go, no rental cars, no hotel reservations, and they canceled our flight. Seriously, what do you do? Ah! All right, if you guys want to hear more about it, be sure to stick around and I will share with you guys our experience on Spirit and Allegiant Airlines, and you guys can see which one was a thumbs up and which one was a thumbs down. So, stick around. Hey friends, it's Living Young Country Girl, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys our travel experience and kind of comparing Spirit Airlines to Allegiant Airlines. So these are both discount airlines. If you guys have not heard of them before, Spirit's pretty well known. Allegiant, I feel like, is a little less known. I didn't hear about it until the price came up as an option, and that was the first time I heard about him. So I was really nervous to fly Allegiant for the first time. I was going to be flying by myself with my kids without my husband. So that was an additional nerve factor going in there. And yeah, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. Obviously, we've flown Southwest before. So, you kind of know that budget airline, but I feel like Spirit and Allegiant drop it down even lower. Like Southwest is almost like luxury compared to Spirit and Allegiant. And that being said, like, there's nothing wrong with taking a budget airline. Honestly, I would totally do it again. But I just want to kind of compare our experiences and some of the things that we found, that happened. So Allegiant flies to very few locations and has very few flights. So like in our particular case, we were flying from Tucson to Provo, Utah. I actually needed to get to Salt Lake City. However, Provo was about 45 minutes away, and the airfare was so much cheaper to fly into Provo, like under $100 for round trip tickets. So we decided to do that because I'm like, we can rent a car there and do a 45-minute drive, no problem. Their only thing was they only flew out and in on Monday. So we had to stay for a whole week. So if you needed just a weekend or something like that, it wasn't even an option. They literally had two flights that came in on Monday, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And that was it. Or one in the afternoon and one in the evening. So keep that in mind. They're not going to fly to really popular airports. They're usually smaller airports. That also being said, it was awesome because Tucson is a small airport and so was Provo. So you didn't have the crowds and the big TSA lines and all of that stuff. It was really simple in and out. And I loved that about it. Now, when we went, we did pay for one carry-on bag per person. And I believe our fee was around, I looked online and they said it was $18. It depends on your distance you're flying, as well as when you buy your checked baggage. I knew we were all going to need, or your carry-on baggage. I knew we were all going to need at least one carry-on baggage. You get one personal item for free. And actually now knowing the personal item, like I didn't need to pay for my kids. I only needed to pay for mine. So we each had our personal item, and my kids' personal item was their backpacks. And as long as it fits under the seat, it's considered a personal item. And so we all had our backpacks, and then I paid for one carry-on suitcase, and that was the one with the wheels, was like a full carry-on. Now, if you do that at the beginning of your booking, it is cheaper. If you do it pre your flight going out, it's a little more expensive. If you wait till you get there, it's more expensive. And if they make you have to check it in because it's too large, it's even more expensive. So I would say in some ways err on the side of caution. I know coming back, I had way more liquids than I did on the way there. And so I knew I had to check it in, like actually check it in. And so that's what I did, is I checked it in to my actual, I paid for a checked baggage. That also increases the weight limits that you're allowed to have. So for myself, I did that still the days before we flew. And it wasn't too expensive. It was a lot better priced than when I actually did it. Now, again, I looked on the websites, and some of the information that I saw on the websites was not what I experienced. So I'm not really sure like how accurate their websites are until you actually go in and start booking it. So like I said, I'm sharing my experience, and this is just kind of what happened with us. On the website, it says you get one personal item, and then you pay for your carry-on, and then if you book it, or you do it, the further along, the more expensive it is. They have a seat reservation fee, and we did pay for that on Allegiant because it was only like around $5. And so I thought, for keep making sure me and my kids were safe, like together, first time flying with them, then that's what I did. So I did pay, and again, because we got such an amazing fare, it wasn't so bad. I did pay the $5 though to do that. Now, something I do have to compare it to, as far as Spirit goes, with Spirit, their cheapest seat, I'm trying to say, was like $10, maybe $15. On some of the flights, the less seats they had. And because there was 4 of us traveling at that point, I'm like, that's an extra $40. So I was really like kind of frustrated at having to pay $40 to make sure that my husband and myself and my kids all got to sit together. But I did watch other people's YouTube videos, and they said that they always flew with their kids, and they never had a problem. If anything, their husband would be right next to them or right in front of them. It was never far. So I decided to chance it and just say, you know what, worst case scenario, they're not going to separate us. It was only an hour and 20-minute flight. I'm like, they might separate me and my husband with one of the kids, like have one of us sit with each kids, but we actually got to sit next to each other on all of our flights. So that was really good. And like I said, because it was so much more to reserve a seat on Spirit, I couldn't do it. And we could have, but I just didn't want to do it. And so I took the chance, and it worked out fine. And from what it sounds like, especially if you're entering in there that it was a child and you're buying them all on the same, credit card at the same time, they seem to keep you together. So that's just a little hint. Maybe if you have some friends that you want to sit together, if you guys can purchase them all on the same credit card and make the reservation at the same time, that might help you guys be able to stay together without having to pay that fee. Again, it's not a guarantee, but it might help. So the seat reservation, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I think Allegiant definitely won on that one. The other thing with Spirit is they have a very small, their carry-on size, their personal item was 18 by 14 by 8. And the carry-on for Allegiant was 22 by 14 by 9. So Allegiant's carry-on was a lot bigger. It was allowed to be quite a bit bigger than Spirit's. So again, I did a video showing how I packed for Spirit and the backpack I got, which was absolutely incredible, and it fit perfectly under the seat. So if you want to see that, check out the description box below. You can see that backpack that I got, and it, like I said, it was the perfect backpack. It fit everything I needed for 5 days in Texas, and the weather was literally in the 70s and 80s and down to the 30s. So I had to get really creative in packing and what I could bring and the different outfits. So if you want to check out that video, check out the description box below, because that Spirit Airline is really small. Something also to keep in mind is with both airlines, the seats are very minimally cushioned. I wouldn't say they felt smaller, but they definitely weren't cushioned very well. Like, my kids were so cute. They were saying the first flight they ever took that they remember was our international flight to Tokyo. And if you guys have flown internationally, those planes are nice. Like, they have like perfect like little movable headrests, so you don't even need a neck pillow. They have like just everything super comfy. They feed you. You have TVs that have games and movies and everything. And so for my kids, and then they also got really spoiled because the Japanese people loved my son. So so for my kids, it was like first class compared to flying the budget airlines that we've flown the last couple times. So, you're going to find that the seats are quite a bit less cushiony. But again, if you're talking about a short flight, honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. And like I said, I wouldn't say one seat was better than the other. They both were about the same. None of them have the charger ports. None of them have Wi-Fi. Neither of them serve snacks. You have to pay for everything. They won't even give you water, you guys. Like, they won't give you water. You can get a cup of ice. That's it. Which we just got ice and we sucked on it. Because in one of the airlines, we didn't get it. The bottle refill spot was broken. And so we couldn't get water. And so that was horrible, because once we got past, and because it was from a small airport, there was no other options for drinks there. So that was not a wonderful thing. So I was really thankful that we actually got the ice, because we were so thirsty. but they would not give us water. And I've heard before, like, unless you're getting bottled water off airplanes, don't do it. So we always just pack snacks, which isn't a big deal. Pack a lunch, pack whatever we need. It's just the liquids, you know, the drinks. If you're flying out of a smaller airport, there's usually not some place to get those things on the other side. I do have to say Spirit flies definitely more locations and out of bigger airports. And so you usually have a lot more options on the other side. So, so neither of them have snacks. They both have, you have to pay for, if you want assigned seats, you both have to pay for priority boarding, which personally, I'm like, I want to be the last one getting on the plane because the less time on the plane, the better. So I think that kind of covers those kind of ideas. You know, baggage fees are pretty similar. Actually, I feel like definitely Spirit had more expensive baggage fees. They were quite a bit more expensive. It was $32 for a checked baggage. And it was $25 for Allegiant's first checked baggage. Again, these vary depending on the distance and the weight. So that was kind of what was interesting, was like, depending on how many miles you were going and the weight, and if it was your first bag or your second bag, those baggage fees can add up really quickly. And if they are overweight, it's horrible. You're better off having multiple smaller bags than having an overweight bag, because they charge ridiculous, like hundreds of dollars if you have an overweight bag on top of your baggage fees. So be careful and be warned about that. Keep the heavy items with you, which I know sucks if you're carrying them around. Allegiant does have a 40-pound minimum for your carry-on. They never weighed mine, so I don't know. They never checked our baggages on any of the flights. They never checked our baggages. So, you know, it's a hit and miss. You might get somebody who's checking it and who's not having a good day. But we never had our baggages checked. My backpack looks pretty small. Like I said, you'll see in that video, it is pretty small. And then also I actually had a purse, like a sling purse, and I wore a black shirt on purpose because it has a black strap, and then it goes around to the back. So it kind of like tucked under my backpack. So I kind of did have two items when I flew, and nobody said anything. I did have room in another backpack if somebody complained that I could have put my purse into, but I just liked having it handy. And so I just kept it around my body unless I needed it. So that's kind of like a little trick. You can always do that. And if I shortened the strap, it would have gone completely under my backpack and no one would have even seen it. So that's just kind of like a little trick to save a little money. The other thing is, like, I wore multiple jackets tied around my waist. I had like a flannel around my waist, and then I had my jean jacket on, and I had just, you got to wear your bulky items. That's like the most important thing, wearing your bulky items. Okay. So as far as like, so far, what you get, what you're going to see on the website, very comparable. Airlines were really comparable. Now, here's where one airline pulled way far ahead, and that was our actual experience flying. And this is where it gets bad, okay? So we flew Allegiant. It was on time, got us there on time, no issues. Great experience. The people were all of the customer service, the people, you know, checking us in, the ladies on the planes, everybody was, you know, fairly courteous. There was no issue. With Spirit, we flew out from Phoenix to Dallas, and it was a fairly uneventful trip. Just kind of got on, did our thing, got off, you know, not a big deal. Our big problem came when we left Dallas to fly home. And thank goodness we had given ourselves an extra cushion when we came home, because if we were somebody who hadn't done that, it could have been a nightmare. We literally arrived, okay, let me back up. So we were leaving on a Monday evening at 11:53. That was when our flight was supposed to go out. So we've spent all day with our friends. It's 11, it was probably around 8 in the evening or 7 in the evening, and I get a notification that our flight has been delayed and won't be departing until 12:53. And I was like, okay, so we got an extra hour. So we kind of hung out a little bit longer, and then we hopped in the car and we were like, you know, said our goodbyes. I look on my phone and I'm like, oh, wow, it's only 7 minutes behind now. It's leaving at 12. So we gave ourselves a cushion, like we gave ourselves about 2.5 hours to get there, just because we had heard that, you know, Dallas-Fort Worth is a huge airport, and we'd heard some, you know, things about how long it can take to get back from the rental car area and everything. So we gave ourselves some extra time. Thank goodness we didn't need any of that time, since the flight now was, say, leaving at midnight. So we returned our rental car. We get to the airport, pull up my, reservation on my phone, which is another thing. You want to make sure you download the app so you can have your boarding passes on your phone, because they will charge you to print out your boarding passes. So if you don't have the app or don't have a smartphone, make sure you print them out before you go, because that's another fee. So I come up, I show them my phone, and they're just like, oh, okay, so you need a hotel voucher because that flight's been canceled. And I'm more like, whoa, what? What? Wait, no. Nah, like, we just returned our rental car. Like, what do you mean flight's been canceled? Like, what's going on? Like, this first we heard, I'm like, it still shows it's leaving at midnight, like, on my phone. Like, what the heck, So, needless to say, we ended up getting a voucher for a hotel and vouchers for food, which was kind of funny because we actually hadn't eaten. We had some leftover food that we were going to eat when we got on the plane. And so they gave us the vouchers for food, and we were just like, so the only food options are here at the airport. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, but all the things at the airport are closed already, right? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, so in other words, there's no food options. And I get it. It's midnight. So they're probably thinking people aren't going to be eating. But for like us, we were hungry. We wanted to eat, and there was no options. So they gave us a hotel voucher. We waited for the hotel. There was about 20 some of us that were waiting for this hotel shuttle to come. We called and they said it would be about 15, 20 minutes. It was about 45 minutes later that I called back and I said, hey, there's about 20 of us here waiting for this shuttle. Are you guys sending it? And they're like, oh yeah, he just got there. He's starting at the one end, so it might take him about 10 minutes to get to you guys. Okay. I'm like, do you realize there's about 20 of us, right? There's like at least 20 of us standing here. Oh yeah, the van fits 42 people. All right, awesome, perfect, great, because, we're the last gate. We're like Concord E, and he's starting at A. So if he has to pick up people along the way, I'm like, we're going to not be able to fit on this bus. But if there's 42 people, that should be okay. So we go ahead and we stand there and we wait for about another 40 minutes, you guys. So we are looking at, it's like after 1 o'clock in the morning, right? We have 2 small kids. We're hungry, we're tired, and now we have to get on this shuttle and we have to fly out the next day, which a lot of people were freaking out. And like I said, thank goodness we had a cushion. We actually originally had planned to fly into Phoenix and stay the night in Phoenix and get up the next morning and drive home because it's a little bit of a distance, right? So we had my husband's car parked there and we were going to go to a hotel and go do that. So I actually had to call and cancel those reservations, which thank goodness for Hilton Honors. I love Hilton Honors. They credited back all my points, and I called them and I said, hey, my husband's car's parked there. We're supposed to pick it up. We're still going to be we're not going to be there. Can you make sure his car doesn't get towed and also cancel our reservation? I know it's not that enough time. I literally just made it. I made it when they called and said that it was going to be delayed. And I was like, yeah, there's no way we're going to drive home tonight. We'll get home way too late. So I was like, let's just do a hotel. So I literally had made that reservation like at 8 o'clock. And here I am at midnight canceling it, which I shouldn't be allowed to. But thank goodness, like I said, Hilton Honors took care of me, made sure the car was good, made sure that they knew the parking people didn't tow it, all of that stuff. So we had a cushion, but a lot of people didn't. A lot of people needed to get back because we were supposed to originally fly out like 11:53, and with our time change, we would be getting in at 11 or 12:20 or something like that. So people that had to work the next day would have been okay, but now you're flying out the next day. And they actually, we weren't going to fly out till noon, which originally they were going to try and make us fly out at midnight again, and they actually moved us up to noon. So we're all standing here waiting for our shuttle bus. Another 45 minutes go by. We finally get on the bus. It's like about a half-hour ride to this hotel, which we're just like, really? There was no room on the shuttle. People were having to stand, and they were just like, no, you're not supposed to stand. And they're like, we're not waiting another 2 hours for another shuttle. You're taking us to the hotel right now. It was crazy, right? The customer service at Spirit was horrible, okay? It was just horrible. They were not very understanding about people being frustrated, and that's where they needed to really step it up, and that was my opinion. So they take us to this hotel, and it was by far the most disgusting hotel ever. If I had made the reservations there and walked in like I had with this situation, I would have turned around and walked out and never come back. I would not have stayed there. It was gross. It was dirty. It was old. It was horrible. Things were falling apart. I took pictures and sent it to Spirit because I was like, this is disgusting. I can totally get behind, like, I understand cancellations and delays and stuff, but for you to then treat us and throw us into this disgusting budget hotel, like, that is disgusting. I get it, we're on a budget airline, but that doesn't mean I stay in budget hotels, okay? When we're talking about an airline, I'm on there for an hour and a half. I'm not sleeping and putting my body in that bed and bathroom. Like, it was disgusting, you guys. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And I have like sheets and stuff, because there's sometimes, like, if you guys have been around my channel, you know I do hotel reviews, and I'm like really sketchy and really worried about sometimes going to some of these hotels because they are a budget hotel or whatever. But I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reviews beforehand. I like see what I can find out. And I always bring like my protective sheets, because if it is really bad and we have to even stay one night, I want to make sure I have that. I have what's called my hotel spray, where I like clean and disinfect everything. So if you guys know me, when I stay in a hotel, I am like a germaphobe. And so this was absolutely disgusting and it was gross. Okay. So the lady at the hotel, like the front desk, was super nice, and she actually comped us breakfast coupons, gave us breakfast vouchers to go get breakfast, just because, like I said, I mean, generally speaking, we're very friendly. We're easy to get along with. That's not an issue. And like this lady, she was like, you guys made my night. And she's like, you guys are really sweet. And so she gave us breakfast vouchers. So, and that was after everything we'd been through, right? So for us still to be like that nice to people, like that, I think speaks a lot of volume as to how we generally are when we interact with people. We're not rude. We're not like, we're very understanding. So, it was really sweet. She gave us breakfast vouchers. So we stayed the night. We literally got into our bed like around 3, and we had to be up at 7 in the morning in order to catch the shuttle to get back to the airport, in order to go and get breakfast and everything at the airport. So yeah, we got a few hours of sleep. Didn't have any of our stuff that we normally have. It was not good. A lot of the people that had suitcases, some of them were lost because they were transferring. There were quite a few people that were just transferring in Dallas from like Florida and all different places, and they got stuck in Dallas, you know. So it was kind of an interesting evening. We woke up the next morning, and because we had the breakfast vouchers, but we also had like $80 in food vouchers from Spirit, we went to the breakfast at the hotel. We got some food, and it was absolutely, like, we ended up throwing it away because we got some fruit and it would taste so, it was supposed to be fresh fruit, but it was so rotten and old that like, we just threw it away. So that was kind of like, that should tell you like how bad this hotel was. So we ended up taking the shuttle back, and we were busting up. I actually took a video and sent it to my friend, and it shows like, and I sent it to Spirit too. It shows the latch on the door in the back busted open. Like, this door could fly open of the shuttle at any moment. The guy was like, it was insane. Like, we were bouncing. It was horrible. It was horrible. Just dangerous and scary. So then there was another reason we were fine getting up at 7 and getting out there as soon as we can. So we got out, we went to the Spirit Airline, you know, to check back in, make sure everything was good. And they're like, oh yeah, you're good. And we're like, okay, so everything's on time, everything's good. They're like, yeah. And we're like, still leaving from gate 32. They're like, yep, that's where we're going. Still boarding at this time. Yep. Okay. So we go through security, we get to the other side, we go start trying to use the Spirit vouchers, and a lot of places would not even take them because they're supposed to have like a barcode, and the Spirit vouchers didn't have a barcode. So we ran into some difficulties there. We finally were able to get some places, find places that took it, got some breakfast, got some coffee, the kids got some snacks for on the plane, and then we went to the gate where this was supposed to leave from. We went there and we looked, and we're like, gate 32 says like Denver, and one says to Las Vegas. There was 32 and 33, and we're like, but nowhere does it say going to Phoenix. And so my husband went up to ask one of the ladies working the Spirit counter, and he just was like, excuse me, ma'am, is this where the flight, you know, for Phoenix is leaving? And she's like, I'm not working this counter. I'm just over here getting some paper. And he was like, okay, like, wow. So we like, okay, went and sat down, waited a while. So somebody finally came, because there was, I think there was like a gate in the middle too, and that's where she was. So somebody finally came to the one that we thought was where we were supposed to be. And so we went up and asked again, and she was like, it's leaving from 32. And we're like, all right, well, it just doesn't say so on the board. So we just wanted to make sure. And I'm like, and it's boarding at 11:50. It says on your ticket. Wow. Well, obviously what it says on your ticket on our app has not proven to be true. So I'm just trying to confirm, like, I'm just like, you just snapped at me because I asked you if that was what time they were boarding, if it was still at 11. You know what I mean? Like, who is so rude like that? After you have treated us so poorly, like, what the heck? Like, this is where you guys can make up for the, flight delays and the cancellations and putting us up in a horrible hotel. Like, all of those things were things that, like I understand the flights you can't control, but choosing a nice hotel to put us up in after you canceled our flight is a major thing you could have done. And having some nice customer service is something you could have done. And maybe giving us vouchers that the rest of the airport will actually accept would have been something nice. So that's where, like, my frustration came in, was the fact that that happened, that the level of customer service really just was horrible. And it didn't stop there. Like, we talked to multiple other passengers who had experienced similar things where they were like, oh yeah, I went to ask them this. And they were like, this just was across the board. Like, most passengers had a bad story. And then even when we were on the plane, I was standing behind a young lady who was waiting to use the restroom. And I know a lot of times, like, a flight attendant will just be like, okay, go ahead and step in. You can walk past, the snack cart. And they had finished doing the snacks. They were walking back to the galley. So it was like, okay, now it's our turn to go to the bathroom, because we were all waiting for them to, come and do the snacks. And so we're walking behind her, and somebody had, I guess, changed their mind and wanted something. So she stopped to do that. And so the lady just is standing there behind her, and I'm standing behind the lady, and there's 2 bathrooms back there. So it's like, okay, we can both go back there. And she's like, if you need to go by, I can't move over. That's the room you've got to get through. And it was like, whoa, like, you don't need to speak to her that way. She literally was standing off to the side just waiting. She wasn't mad. She wasn't frustrated. I wasn't mad and frustrated. Nobody was saying anything. We were just patiently waiting. And then you, like, snap at her, like, if you need to get by, that's the room you've got. Like, I can't move over. Like, wait a minute. So needless to say, our flight experience with Spirit was not the best. And they did offer us, because at the flight change, they gave us a $50 per person voucher to come and rebook, which that I would never, like, at that I would have been like, nah, thanks. Like, and then I did send Spirit pictures of our hotel room and the dirt and the hair that was all over everything. That was disgusting. And of the broken shuttle, and just, like, our room that was just, the tile was brown. It was bad. So I did send them that. And then I did explain to them, like, I totally understand delays, and I understand cancellations, and I understand your policies, and the flight attendants couldn't work any more hours. They'd already worked too many. I get that. Like, I understand those are things you have no control over, but you do have control over where you put us up in a hotel. Putting us up in a hotel that is, it took an hour or almost 2 hours for the shuttle to come. And then we had a half-hour drive to this location, and it's already, midnight. Like, come on, like, you could have chosen a hotel closer. You could have chosen a hotel that was a lot cleaner and nicer, and not driven us a half-hour away to literally, like, this yucky ghetto area to stay in this hotel that was so sketchy and disgusting and gross. And you could have you need to do better with your training of your staff, because that was just unacceptable. So all of that being said, will we fly Spirit again? We have $150 each in vouchers at this point. So I would say, yes, we will fly again. Will it be something where we have to be somewhere at a certain time? We'll have to, like, definitely give ourselves some leeway and either allow for what could be a resort day at the beginning and at the end. In case something like this happens again, not plan on flying in the day before kind of deal. But I would be okay trying again, because I'm really hoping that this was just a fluke. Because, like I said, our flight out was fine. It was our flight back that was a nightmare. I know it happens on all airlines. Like, there are uncontrollable things. Trust me, my husband and I have been stuck in airports for multiple days. We've been put up in hotels before by airports, and they were really nice. So I just, like I said, it was how they handled the situation afterwards that really, really frustrated me. And I really hope that that is something that would not happen again. So in that case, I would love to give them a try again, but I honestly don't know. Even things like when the plane landed, the amount of noise it made, everybody was like, oh my gosh, this plane gonna fall apart, because it was shaking, like it was, so there was just so many things that just made me uncomfortable. I don't know. We're gonna have to think on that one. It will have to be a really big, great deal for us to want to go again. We only have 60 days to plan too, and that's where I'm like, or 90 days or something like that. So it kind of makes it to where we got to decide here pretty quick if we're going somewhere, and if we are, if they're flying there, and if we want to do it. But that is our experience with flying Spirit and Allegiant, and which one we'd fly again. Allegiant, without a doubt, I would fly again. Spirit, we really are going to have to think about that one. So I hope this video kind of helped you guys out and gave you a little clue or a little insight as to maybe what would be good or not be good. I don't know. Everybody has their experience. If you've had an experience with either Spirit or Allegiant that were good or bad, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Please message and let me know. I would love to. I like hearing everybody's story, and that's why I share mine. Like I said, I watched videos before I booked, and so I kind of had an idea what to expect, but I did not expect all of that. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel and would like to subscribe, I love talking about travel. I love talking about oils, homeschooling, and just things that I'm passionate about. So join our community and join our little tribe here, our little family here. And we will see you guys all again real soon. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye.